Hello everybody. In this video, we will try to continue our discussion on Dhanishta nakshatra. So, if you observe the professions that a Dhanishta energy person be in, see there are various professions that are suitable for Dhanishta nakshatra because as we discussed in our first part of Dhanishta nakshatra video, it has so many energies embedded in it. So you can see Dhanishta people are fit into so many jobs. So fundamental Dhanishta energy, if you observe, the musicians, dancers, sports people, basically the performers, you can say, and the performers and also the people in the management side of the entertainment industry, you can find Dhanishta energy people. Drummers, as we saw, the Damaru is one of the famous symbols of Dhanishta nakshatra. So, especially the rhythmic activities, whatever rhythmic activities, right, you observe, whether it can be the bands or orchestras, right, creative artists of all types. So all these people can be related to Dhanishta energy jobs. So those involved in military activities also, because Dhanishta basically is a Mars nakshatra. So even the gemstone dealers, you can find the athletes, sports persons. So coordination, wherever coordination is needed, Dhanishta energy people can do very well, because Dhanishta is all about maintaining the rhythm. Also the real estate business, because Mars is a lord here. So whenever we talk about Mars, we talk about military activities, we talk about the real estate activities, because real estate business basically represents Mars. So Dhanishta energy is the peak of Martian energy, so you can find a lot of military people and real estate business people also here. So the financial transactions generally, the scientists or physicists, because Mars is coming into the picture here. So Mars is a kind of engineering activities also. So computer professions. So military people, you can find a lot of military people, poets and songwriters, because they require a kind of rhythm, right? So you can find poets and songwriters, even makers of musical instruments. Whatever music you see, music is very much related to Dhanishta energy. So even astrologers can also fit in Dhanishta. So on a higher level, those involved in healing activities through Kundalini yoga, all this stuff are also involved, because you can clearly find the Dhanishta energy in the back side of your body, that is especially the spinal cord, which is responsible for this Kundalini yoga activities. On a lower level, you can find surgeons, medical practitioners, professions involving electronic equipment, because Mars represents surgeons and also engineering people. So professions requiring versatility and multiple task ability also, the Dhanishta energy people be in these activities also, because Dhanishta is basically is an all-rounding capability. Also you can see, because Ashtavasus are the deities, you can find in Ashtavasu so many nakshatra qualities you can find in all the Ashtavasus, as we discussed in the first part of the video. So they can generally fit into multiple multitasking also. So the managers, you can find managers, because managers generally manage something. They try to maintain the rhythm of the team, of the company, right? So or of the product that they deliver, right? So a kind of rhythm is involved here. So managers in general, and so they can involve in so many types of professions, but these are the famous professions that you can really uh, find them. So if you see the places where you can find Dhanishta energy, just to relate, just to understand better, all places related to music, wherever you go, you find some music. Let us say the place, let's say you're going to some music hall. So that music hall consists of Dhanishta energy basically, because there's some music being played there. So you can immediately find Dhanishta energy, and any creative art you can find Dhanishta, ranging from whether you're going to a school or studio or a dance hall, wherever. So the dance hall also consists of Dhanishta energy. The meditation rooms you can find, because Dhanishta is basically, it belongs to the spinal cord energy, which is responsible for better meditation activities. Thereby, in the next level, it involves the Kundalini stuff also. So the managerial offices, real estate agencies, even gardens, science labs. So factories with high-tech equipment or producing high-tech equipment, because the Mars is mainly responsible for engineering and high-tech activities, and also amusement centers, sports stadiums. Wherever you go, let us say you're going somewhere and you're finding some people playing some sports, and immediately you can find Dhanishta energy, because Dhanishta is all about music, dance, sports, engineering activities, the meditational activities, because Dhanishta involves the spinal cord here, the anus part and the spinal cord part, which is actually responsible for the Kundalini yoga, the awakening of your Kundalini energy. So Dhanishta involves here. So Dhanishta nakshatra energy is very much involved in all these activities. Even the financial centers, institutions, banks, right? To an extent, you can find Dhanishta energy here, because Dhanishta is all about money and luck, right? So that's where the banks and financial institutions are coming into the picture here. And wherever you find some wealth, so there you can find some Dhanishta energy, because Dhanishta is all about music, dance, money, luck, also maintaining the rhythm of the universe, the celestial music, right? So this is all the Dhanishta energy. And so you can relate now the management activities, the meditation rooms, the music halls, the dance halls, right? Even the financial institutions, the spinal cord where your Kundalini energy flows, right? So this is all basically the Dhanishta energy. Now, if you see the kind of the nature of the energy, it's Dhanishta supposed to be a tamasic nakshatra. So this is very clear from the fact that the two inherently tamasic planets here, Mars and Saturn, are they're basically responsible for Dhanishta energy, Mars being the star lord and Saturn being the sign lord here, right? So Dhanishta actually acts as a bridge between Capricorn and Aquarius. Both are Saturn signs. So here Saturn and Mars energy are highly involved. Both of them are tamasic planets basically. So it's however, it doesn't mean that this nakshatra is averse to activity, because we discussed already in the part 2 of our video, Dhanishta is a very active nakshatra. So it just means that this nakshatra is more geared towards dissolution than creation or maintenance. So there are 3 activities in the whole universe that's continuously going on. The activities are creation, maintenance and dissolution. So even more, even though you're finding Dhanishta 1-2 padas in Capricorn, which is actually the Lord Vishnu's energy, and Dhanishta 3-4 padas are involved in Aquarius, which is completely of Lord Shiva's energy, and Lord Shiva's energy is completely destruction energy, destructive energy, and Lord Vishnu's energy is completely maintenance energy. Even though Lord Vishnu's energy is a kind of maintenance, but when you talk about Dhanishta Capricorn, it's also a kind of destruction, because if you find our Puranas, most of the demons were killed by Lord Vishnu. So in order to maintain something, you may need to destruct something, right? So Dhanishta is always about, a kind of, it involves more of a dissolution energy. That's where people classify it as a tamasic nakshatra basically. And it belongs to the ether element. The ether element can mingle and cooperate with all the elements. As you see, the Ashtavasus are the deities of Dhanishta nakshatra. So you can find so many other nakshatra energies also in Dhanishta nakshatra, because Dhanishta is able to cope up with multiple environments. Thereby it is representing some kind of ether element, where you can clearly observe that ether element can cooperate with any kind of element. So this is what gives this nakshatra its all encompassing quality, you can say. So just as space and ether, it can cooperate with any kind of element. So that's where, so a kind of adjusting to its source, listening to the source, so finding out that kind of rhythm is a fundamental quality of Dhanishta nakshatra. That there is a sense of all-rounding nature present in Dhanishta nakshatra basically. So this nakshatra likes to keep its horizons as wide as possible. So that's where you can find the all-rounding capability of this nakshatra. And it is considered to be a demonic nakshatra. So once again, this can be attributed to its close relationship to the two natural malefics, Mars and Saturn. It carries an energy which always tries to bring about change in the present. So it's a kind of demonic activity. So bringing some change with some force is a kind of demonic activity, you can say. So the Mars and Saturn, they always work on some kind of bringing some change to the present for the better, right? So most godly nakshatras are related to maintaining the status. So whatever status you're in, so the godly nakshatras are a kind of being satisfied with the status. But the demonic nakshatras are not the way, not this way. They always want to bring the change and find something better, So when you think in terms of astrology, bringing continuously working on bringing some change is also treated as a kind of negative thing. It's a kind of demonic activity, because if you're satisfied with what you have, that's a kind of maintenance activity, and as long as you're satisfied, the things are maintained very peacefully. So thereby that's a kind of godly activity, and when you are trying to bring some change, always you're trying, you're actually forcing yourself, or you're forcing someone to bring some change, uh, you know for continuous change. That's a kind of demonic activity. So here Dhanishta is considered as a demonic nakshatra, uh, as it is having the two malefics, Mars and Saturn being the rulers. It's a nakshatra ruler and a sign ruler. So it's a kind of it always works on bringing some change. So in the present times, however, in this Kali Yuga, you can always find this kind of bringing change in the existing environment is always considered to be a kind of advancement, right? So obviously the Dhanishta nakshatra in these days, uh, should be treated as a positive nakshatra, it as a positive thing, uh, and this cannot be a negative quality in the present society. So it definitely, even it's very good from the universal point of view, because the universe always changes. It also tries to bring some change to its existing environment. And if you observe the auspicious activities that you can perform on the day of Dhanishta nakshatra, means when the sun rises, and if you see what's the nakshatra that is being operated just after the sunrise, that is the day. So if you find Dhanishta nakshatra being operated just after the sunrise, you can say that day is a Dhanishta nakshatra day. So on the whole day, you can clearly, so on the whole day you can think that Dhanishta nakshatra is operating, on different activities that you can perform on the day of Dhanishta nakshatra are the religious rituals and performances, some creative activities, because Dhanishta is always involved in the activities like music, dancing, maintaining the rhythm, right? The managerial activities and meditation. So it's of course the religious rituals and performances, the creative activities are very good, especially of course music and dance, group activities of all kinds. So very any kind of celebrations, you can celebrations involving huge crowds like concerts, any kind of opening ceremony you can perform on the day of Dhanishta nakshatra. All activities involving a kind of splendor, you can start on the day of Dhanishta. Even purchasing mobile and immobile property, because Dhanishta is a Mars nakshatra and Mars always involves the real estate stuff. So you can perform the real estate activities on the day of Dhanishta nakshatra. And traveling, good for both short trips and long journeys. All activities requiring aggression and proactiveness, you can start on the day of Dhanishta, because Dhanishta is a Mars nakshatra and Mars is a symbol of aggressiveness and also proactiveness. So lending money and all kinds of financial transactions can be done on the day of Dhanishta, because Dhanishta energy is good for financial transactions. It's a nakshatra of luck and money also. Meditation, you can start meditation and yoga, because Dhanishta nakshatra energy mainly involves the spinal cord, and gardening you can do on the day of Dhanishta, buying new clothes, gemstones, jewelry, It's favorable for treating diseases and commencing educational ventures, also career activities involving fame and recognition, also learning how to use high-tech equipment and weapons, right? So because Mars is also very much famous for engineering and surgeon activities, and Dhanishta is unfavorable for sexual activity or marriage. As we see, Lord Sri Rama's horoscope, Lord Sri Rama is a Cancer ascendant and a Cancer moon, and the seventh cusp directly falling in the Dhanishta 1-2 padas. Dhanishta, the seventh cusp is actually in the Capricorn Dhanishta part, the Dhanishta part of Capricorn. So just imagine kind of problems Lord Rama went through in his lifetime. So obviously Dhanishta is not a good nakshatra for marriage. So activities of a fixed or restrictive character, like giving up old habits, is also, it's not a good day to do this kind of things. So it's not a good time to form new partnerships also, because Mars is involved, a kind of aggression is involved here. Any kind of partnership or marriage, this kind of things are uh, you know not good to perform on the day of Dhanishta. So homely activities like cleansing is also inauspicious to perform. So dealings with people requiring kind of tact, cleverness, gentleness, you cannot perform on the day of Dhanishta. It's not a good thing, because the energy released by Dhanishta is by default, it consists of some kind of aggression, and also Saturn is also involved here. The Saturn Mars energy uh, being operated, so the gentleness, the activities involving a kind of gentleness and cleverness, you cannot perform very much comfortably on the day of Dhanishta. So the planetary ruler, if you observe, uh, the main planetary influences affecting this nakshatra, as we discussed, of course, are Mars and Saturn. Other than Mars and Saturn, you can also say Rahu and Uranus, right? You can see the influence of Rahu and Uranus also in Dhanishta. So Mars, of course, is the primary ruler of this nakshatra. So it represents the pinnacle of Martian energy, the peaks of Martian energy, because uh, the first Mars nakshatra is Mrigashira, considered to be the seed of Martian energy or Mars energy, and then the Chitra, the second nakshatra of Mars, is considered to be a kind of flower of Martian energy, and then if you see Dhanishta, which is the third Mars nakshatra, is considered to be the fruit of Martian energy. So it has so much of Martian energy. So bravery is a quality strongly associated with this nakshatra, because peaks of Martian energy you can find in Dhanishta basically. So this is the reason why it connects with warriors, weapons, and military activities also. So courage is a prerequisite for a lot of sports as well, such as adventure sports like mountain climbing, right? So basically this nakshatra has a quality of bravery. So Saturn's rulership relates to it has a kind of organizational ability also, because Saturn is all about discipline, right? So the organizational ability. So this nakshatra, you can find that organizational ability. It usually sets itself long-term goals, which it likes to fulfill at any cost. So discipline is key to excel in any of the creative arts also. But just observe a musician who is playing music very nicely. He has a lot of discipline in playing that, right? So Dhanishta energy people generally have this kind of passion, aggression and discipline together, all together, packed because of Mars and Saturn. So Dhanishta is a nakshatra which finally accomplishes the difficult task of harmonizing the divergent energies of Mars and Saturn. So even though you're finding Mars and Saturn energy here, you can also find a kind of rhythm involved here, right? So that is the best thing. So generally people say Dhanishta people can work hard and can harmonize the things. So the Martian energy is at its absolute refinement here, and this is why Dhanishta is the pinnacle of Martian energy, you say. So it has the wisdom to use Mars energy constructively over time, right, through hard work. So obviously these people can achieve the things as we discussed when in the part 2 of Dhanishta Nakshatra video, different padas, all of them have good qualities, Dhanishta 1, 2, 3, 4, right, except the marriage stuff, right, remaining things go well. So we can see how keeping rhythm while playing drums, right, so keeping the rhythm while playing the drums, if you just see that, so the kind of organizational ability involved there. So whenever we say Dhanishta people, you not only can imagine them in a great things, in great things in the sense great places, you can also find them on a road playing a drum also, right? So based on the other combinations, other planetary positions in the chart. But just observe a drummer who is just going on the road, right? So he has a lot of organizational ability, lot of music sense, right? A kind of rhythm is involved in playing those drums. So obviously the Dhanishta energy you can clearly see there. So Dhanishta basically understands a rhythm of life, the rhythm of musical instrument. So it basically tells about rhythm, maintaining the things, right? So and its capacity to stick to the rhythm makes it the best always, right? So its relationship with Rahu and Uranus we need to talk, because obviously everybody says Mars and Saturn are the fundamental rulers of Dhanishta Nakshatra, but what about Rahu and Uranus? So if you talk about Rahu and Uranus, so because of Rahu and Uranus influence here, it connects with mass media, and that's the reason why a lot of top people in the entertainment industry have a strong Dhanishta influence in their chart. So it likes to make people wealthy and respected in their chosen fields, of course. And in the present day and age, you can clearly see Rahu and Uranus are keys to uh, get a lot of success in any field, right? So in general, astrological theories, if you observe, general Mars in Capricorn, Mars in Aquarius, Rahu Mars conjunction and Mars Saturn conjunction in nakshatras like Rohini, Mrigashira, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Chitra, Anuradha, or Uttara Bhadrapada, right? So carry an energy similar to that of Dhanishta Nakshatra. Because the Rohini Nakshatra is a moon's nakshatra, but it is also very much famous for entertainment industry, the Rohini nakshatra. And Mrugashira is of course a Mars nakshatra. Punarvasu is of course a Jupiter nakshatra, but it indicates a kind of development. And Pushami is a Saturn, and Chitra is a Mars nakshatra, and Anuradha, Uttara Bhadrapada are also Saturn nakshatras. So Mars in Capricorn, Mars in Aquarius, a Rahu Mars conjunction, a Mars Saturn conjunction. So these are all carry similar energy, right? So in these nakshatras like Rohini, Punarvasu, when this conjunction you find, right, this is all Dhanishta energy basically. So when you find something like let us say Mars and Saturn are joining in Rohini nakshatra, that is equal to a Dhanishta nakshatra energy. So Rahu Mars Saturn conjunction completely carries the energy of Dhanishta nakshatra. So Dhanishta is all about the malefic energies, conjunction of malefic energies, right? So when you mix Rahu, Mars, Saturn, the three, you can get Dhanishta. So Moon, Mars, Saturn, Mercury, Venus and Rahu usually do well in Dhanishta. Usually, of course, you need to check whether they are functionally benefic to the Lagna or not. So Moon and Mars do better in the Capricorn part, while Mercury, Venus and Rahu do better in the Aquarius part. Because if you observe the Moon and Mars, right, why they do better in Capricorn part? Because in Capricorn part, the Dhanishta 1, 2 padas, for the Dhanishta 1, the Navamsha is Leo, Dhanishta 2, the Navamsha is Virgo. So here, let us say Mercury is present in Dhanishta 2. Then obviously in the Navamsha chakra, you can find Mercury in the sign of Virgo. So Mercury's Mula Trikona house is Virgo. So Mercury can do very well in Virgo, right? So that way you can always find, right? So you can compare the energies. So Moon and Mars do well in the Capricorn part, and even Mercury, Venus and Rahu. So here you can say Moon, Mars, even the Mercury can do very well in Capricorn part. So here the Venus can do very well in Dhanishta 3, basically that is Aquarius part, because when you find Venus in Dhanishta 3 in the Navamsha chakra, you can find Venus directly falling in Libra, right? And even Rahu can do very well in Dhanishta 2, because when Rahu is in Dhanishta 2, in the Navamsha chakra you can find Rahu directly in Virgo sign. So Virgo is a kind of own sign of Rahu and it can do very well there. So basically Saturn's positioning in this nakshatra will make success slow to come and may totally deny marital pleasures. Generally people observe, because say you may think Saturn is in the Capricorn, Saturn is in Capricorn or Saturn is in Aquarius, Dhanishta nakshatra, then you may think Saturn is in its own sign, then why success is not coming very early, even though Saturn is in its own sign or the Mula Trikona house. It's because it's based on the practical finding that Saturn in Dhanishta is not so good. It will make success slow to come, and it's not very good for marital pleasure. So this is one of the important things here. But see, it will give success. When Saturn is in Dhanishta, it will give success, but it will definitely make it slow. Its sexual animal for Dhanishta is lion. This nakshatra has a strong connection with the lion, which goes it goes far beyond its sexual preferences. So on a sexual plane, this type does not relate well with other nakshatras except the lion nakshatras or tiger nakshatras. So Dhanishta, Chitra, Vishakha and Purva Bhadrapada, right? So these four can go very well. So in keeping with its animal, it is not very enthusiastic about sexual activity, even though it might have multiple partners. So for sexual and marital compatibility, right? So you can always go with Dhanishta, Chitra, Vishakha and Purva Bhadrapada, and there are more things to talk about the marital compatibility that we will make another video. And the stars of this nakshatra is every nakshatra means a constellation, so every nakshatra has some stars. So the stars of this nakshatra lie very close to Andromeda, where a lot of godly and demonic forces are said to reside. You can find both godly and demonic forces here in Andromeda. So however, the 8 Vasus which preside over the stars of the constellation of Delphinus are all godly in nature. So Delphinus is associated with dolphins, the most intelligent and benevolent among all the sea creatures. So this nakshatra shares a lot of its traits with dolphins. Even dolphins are known for their permanent mysterious smile. So this nakshatra sort of lies on the borderline between Shiva's and Vishnu's territory. So from an astrological point of view, it connects the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius, of course, as we discussed. So Capricorn is a natural 10th house of Kala Purush Kundali, because in Kala Purush Kundali we consider Aries as the first house. So 10th house is all about karma. So the 11th house is Aquarius, and it corresponds to the fruits of karma. So this nakshatra, it basically relates to the fulfillment of one's goals, desires and ambitions as a result of good karma from previous births. So it is a balancing point between the forces of maintenance and destruction, as Capricorn is that energy is maintenance energy and Aquarius energy is destruction energy. So if you see the number, this is the 23rd nakshatra, and 23 is a number associated in numerology. You can see is the 23 is royal star of the lion. So obviously it's related to the star Regulus, which forms the core of the nakshatra Magha in the zodiac belt. So Magha lies directly opposite the Aquarius part of this nakshatra. So these two nakshatras can be seen as partners, generally Magha and Magha and Dhanishta. So Magha, as we know, is the nakshatra related to some royal honors, some kind of exalted status. So Dhanishta, especially uh, the second half, the Aquarius part, also carries within itself these kind of qualities. So one can see that the lion is an animal strongly associated with both of these nakshatras. So Aquarius part of Dhanishta and Magha are a kind of partners, you can say. So 23 is regarded as a very fortunate number. It generally signifies completion. So both these nakshatras carry the completion aspect of this number. So Magha and Dhanishta. So because of this, they can become best in their chosen fields. So due to repeated past life efforts or uh, having more uh, nature of doing some kind of hard work, you can say. So this is one of the best nakshatras, you can say. Some examples, if you try to find uh, life of Bhishma. Just imagine one of the major characters of the Vedic epic Mahabharata. The life of Bhishma, it basically exemplifies the energy of Dhanishta. See, he took and observed the vow of lifelong celibacy, and he was unconquerable in the battle, basically. So here, if you observe the life of Bhishma, he is always victorious, but he made a oath of lifelong celibacy. So always victorious in battle. He was very generous even to his competitors, you can observe. And he showed a lot of courage uh, till his time of death, and you can find a lot of Dhanishta influence in Bhishma. And another example is Marilyn Monroe. So the famous model and actress, and she has her moon in Dhanishta in the seventh house, basically. So you can just see here the seventh house involvement in Dhanishta. Seventh house not only related to the relationship with your spouse, it is also showing the relationship with masses. So she has that Dhanishta's charm to become a mass uh, symbol, a mass romantic symbol, you can say. So her famous smile also has an influence of Dhanishta energy. So the facial expression also involves the Dhanishta energy if you closely observe. But her marital life is not so successful. Uh, it actually spoiled, the Dhanishta energy spoiled the marital life. She had two unsuccessful marriages, uh, right? And some unsatisfying affairs also. So that's because of Dhanishta influence. So this is the energy of Dhanishta clearly. So Dhanishta is basically a lucky energy, kind of Martian, fully Martian energy. So when you talk about Dhanishta, you talk about Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Uranus, all, kind of malefic, explosive uh, kind of planets. So it's basically a kind of good energy and lack of something, having some lack of that gentleness in decision making, or because basically you have Martian energy here, Mars energy here. So you can find the people, very good people, very beautiful people, having Dhanishta influence, but at the same time you may find them so as long as they do not mess with the marital life, as long as they do not go into marriage, right? Kind of means, especially the Dhanishta 1, 2 and 4 padas, right? So these 4 pada, these 1 to 4 padas, these 3 padas have some negative influence related to marital affairs. Also the relationship with masses, relationship with uh, relationship with others, you can say. But of course, relationship with others can be successful based on the practical observations, but relationship with spouse may not be very well here. So you can clearly understand the energy of Dhanishta. It's a kind of meditation energy, the Kundalini energy, the Martian energy, the Saturn discipline, the organizational capability, the luck, the fame, the money, right? So you can find, and even the financial energy you can find, because Dhanishta itself means it's related to money, right? So many good qualities you can find in this demonic, active, tamasic nakshatra. So that's about this famous nakshatra. So it's all about maintaining the rhythm of the universe, the orchestration, right? So it can very much easily tune into its source. That is one of the negative qualities, right? Easily can uh, get influenced, you can say. So in the present society, where you can have multiple diversional things going on around you, so this nakshatra energy may not be very much comfortable. So if you have Dhanishta energy, most probably you may need to check your aggression first of all, and you may need to check the activities that you are trying, the kind of negative activities, the kind of uh, the kind of immoral activities that you're trying to do, right? You need to check on them. So if you can stop that immoral or unethical activities, and then if you're able to control your aggression, then most probably you can be successful. And also you need to check the marital affairs. That is the most important thing when you are checking the Dhanishta energy. And see, you are good in religious activities, performing the energy that you got, you can utilize them in the religious activities, the meditational activities, the kundalini stuff, right? So you can always utilize your energy there. You have a very good organizational ability. With that you can try to make your life better for sure, right? So the harmonizing activities that you can do, with that, slowly you can try to build a very good relationship. But at the end of the day, the energy you see here is Rahu, Mars, Saturn and Uranus energy. So try to get a Magha partner, right? So check if you're able to be comfortable with a Magha energy person and try to marry. So that is the most important thing that you can do. So this is about the great Dhanishta, the Miltarian, the Martian, the musical, dancing, the celestial musical, and whatever you can give names to it. Thanks for watching this video.